Love, love, until I feel the breath of the Spirit flowing in me.
Hello, welcome to Spirit of Life. My name is Geraldine Lee, your host, and my guest is Josh Angrisano. He's a missionary. Welcome, Josh.
Thanks.
It's great to have you, and I'd love to hear your story of conversion. I hear that you come from a very Catholic family. What was it like for you?
I'm the middle child, so I have an older sister and a younger brother, and my dad's a full-time Catholic singer. So he'll travel to Australia every now and then, and just the dynamic of that was just, my parents, always made sure we were going to youth group and, just going to church and everything, and it was a very musical home as well. I remember, I always loved plays and everything, and in third grade I was trying out for this play at my school, and all of my classmates made fun of me because I said I sounded like a girl when I sang.
All right.
And I realized, it really I took it to heart on that day, but then I realized every third grader sounds like a girl. But it definitely just sort of made me change the way I act around my classmates and everything. Just
made you self-conscious?
Yeah, and I sort of put down singing and everything and became a baseball player just because I sort of found that was the way I could connect with kids growing up was, you just get to school and you're like, hey, did you see the game last night or anything like that? And that's how I was really able to connect with kids. But yeah, it was a really, I have so much respect for my dad and for my mom.
Yeah.
And
Was it hard having your dad as a quite known figure?
He's really only known by people who've seen him.
Uh-huh.
So, when he's home, and and he's just a phone call away. He still helps me with my math homework and anything. So it wasn't too big of a difference, I'd say. Yeah.
So your life growing up was quite Catholic as such, and
yes.
And then what happened after that? You stayed Catholic all through that time?
I never left the Catholic Church, but because in America, when you go to uni or university, you move away from home and you live on the campus, and so that was kind of the first time in my life where it was my own decision if I was going to keep going to Mass every Sunday and really devoutly following Christ in my own life. And I think just for a while I decided not to, and primarily just because I wasn't sure, just because growing up, my parents really handed down the faith to me, and I wasn't sure if it was really my own. And so when I got to school, I just really made baseball my whole life. I ended up going to uni just to play baseball at this private school, and I just really sort of seeked for happiness through baseball. And then when that didn't really work out, just because I would sort of really rely on my happiness to be through baseball. So if it was a good day, on the field, then it was a good day, and if it was a bad day, then I'd just get really down on myself and upset. And my freshman year of baseball did not go very well. I just wasn't really prepared for the competition, and so I was rarely playing. And I really took for granted, how my parents would kind of push me in the right direction and get people around me who would have my best intentions in mind and really look out for me. I really only had my teammates, and so.
All right. So at that time, you were on success or peer pressure. That was the main focus of your life, rather than your parents' nurturing and all that. You sort of put that aside for that time.
Yeah, definitely. It was mainly, I just think that I wasn't really happy, and instead of seeking advice from the right people, I was around guys who probably didn't have my best intentions in mind. They were all just looking for a good weekend. And so once I started to get down on myself, I just really got into the party scene, and it got to the point where it was every single night, just going out, just drinking and just trying different substances and just really trying to really sort of forget about and not really have to deal with my issues but it really just sort of started to create a depression within me because baseball wasn't really a consistent source of happiness, and going out eventually ended up just sort of being boring for me because I realized it just wasn't really fulfilling my heart, and so eventually I tried to like find it in a girl, and at this point I was just like so broken, I feel like, or just sort of worn down because I was looking for happiness in all these different things that when I was with this girl, I just really just put all my chips on her, and I was like, okay, if this relationship's good and if we're going well, then then I'm gonna be happy. And it was nothing personal, but just life sort of happened, and she ended up like stopped, just like completely cut me off, like out of nowhere. Like no phone call, no text, just like, oh, it's over. And that just like really just sort of like shook me, because I was like really leaning on her for happiness. And then all those habits that I caught in the party phase really turned into addictions, and it was morning, evening, night, just like constantly trying to just.
When she dropped you, that pushed you further into drugs.
Yeah, definitely, and it was just trying to numb out and not feel the emotions that I was going through at all. And it got really serious for a while, where I really was not taking school very seriously, and
so you got yourself into quite a mess and depression too.
Definitely.
So did you come to a certain point where you turned around, or you just kept? How long did you keep going like that for?
Yeah, I definitely think the biggest turning point was, I was trying to hide all of this new lifestyle sort of under the rug from my family, and it I just kind of got to the point where I was being so reckless that I got in trouble at school. We just threw a party on campus, and the school found out, and just everything was out in the open to my parents. And my dad, he saw what I was going through, and he decided, he was like, that's it, you're going on a mission trip to Peru with your church. And it was sort of mixed feelings, because I was like, oh, okay, like Peru, that's cool. But then it was kind of like, this is a church mission trip, what's going to happen.
I might have to pause you there, though it's very exciting to hear. You've been watching Spirit of Life. Stay with us, and we'll be back after the break. Hello, welcome back to Spirit of Life. My name is Geraldine Lee, and my guest is Josh Angrisano. He's a missionary, and he's been sharing his conversion story. Hi Josh, it was we sort of had to cut at that point where you were sharing about how you were touched, and something made you think about going away from the drugs and the relationships and success, and you started searching. Definitely.
So once it was sort of out in the open what I was struggling with, my father decided just sign me up for a mission trip to Peru. And it was mixed feelings, sort of like I said, but when I went, it just really changed my entire perspective on life, because it was just every single day we were building bamboo houses for these families, and it was like a family of 5, and the houses were smaller than the room we're in at this very moment, and there was 5 or 6 people packed in there.
Wow. And
just aluminum roofs, and the dad was working 3 hours he was working like 8 to 10 hours a day for like $3, and it cost $2 to get water to their house. And there was just so much suffering and sickness in the community, but that's not what struck me most. What really struck me was how happy these people still were.
Wow.
Just being around them, they just really filled you up with joy, and their faith was just so strong, and they were just so on fire, and they made you laugh, just being around them. And it just really shook me to the core, because here I was trying to find happiness in all these things, like sports and going out, on the weekends and everything. And these people who have absolutely nothing are even happier than me or any of my friends back home. And so it really sort of altered my thinking and realized, maybe, I'm searching for happiness in the wrong places. And so when I went home, it just really, I sort of isolated myself from everybody and just really tried to find, a way to alter my desires so that, I had something that was consistently, getting me up in the morning, and I had, just consistent joy in my life. And so, I really ended up just wanting to turn back to my faith. But it was a really slow process, and like I still kind of had a lot of addictions just from the past that honestly just kept, just kept biting at me until I really realized that I had to get myself around positive people and people who are going to uplift me, or else, I'm not going to be able to do it by myself.
Yeah. So who was significant in helping your conversion during this time?
I'd say, my father, for sure, just because he just always had my back, and he was just the best listener out of anyone. He'd always just sort of hear out what I was trying to say, but you could also just tell how much he genuinely cared for me and for, my well-being. And, and I could still just be really honest with him. Like, he pretty much knew about everything that was going on just because we have such a good relationship. And so, my dad, most definitely. And I mean, I'd also just say, I listened to a lot of music, and I started just listening to a lot more Christian artists and stuff, just artists who really focus on, just the bigger questions in life, and just sort of uplifting you instead of tearing you down.
Yes. What's the message of Christ that really spoke to you to help give you hope, and that you could get over your addictions and things like that?
I'd say I really realized how blessed I am just to be in the situation I'm in, especially just seeing how those people in Peru, just their way of life, and just realizing how ridiculously blessed I am to just wake up in the bed I'm in and have the family that I have, and get to, get the education that I was getting. And so I really first, I think, was just very thankful. And sort of my process of thinking was, I want to really give back. God has really blessed me for whatever reason. I'm more, I have a lot to be thankful for. And which everybody does, but it just sort of felt like personally, I'm in a really good situation, and not everybody in this world is. And so I was really thankful, and I realized that, when I go to heaven, and when I, look Jesus in the face, I want to say, I was thankful for everything you gave me, and I really tried to give it back.
Yeah. And what is that? Does the message of God's love and forgiveness reach you? Like, did you feel pretty bad, like that you'd kind of gone another way from your family, and then was God, Jesus' forgiveness a helpful thing for you? Yeah,
I mean, the forgiveness of God is just very unfathomable, just because none of us deserve it. And I think just my relationship with my dad is a real testament to that, just because I put him through a lot of things, just going through getting in trouble with school, and he just like financially and just mentally, he just really supported me through all of it. And I remember when I was first telling my testimony to a group of people, I literally just broke down in tears, because I realized, like how I don't understand my dad's love for me. I was like, I pretty much went behind his back so many times that he still forgave me every single time, and I don't deserve it. And like when I called him and told him that, he was just like, there's not a price tag on my love for you. I'm gonna forgive you, every single time, and I'm so proud of the man you become. And that's really what I think the relationship with the Father is as well.
So you experienced that non-condemnation from your dad, and that was what also helped you to realize that God doesn't condemn you.
Most definitely.
Yeah, that's great. So you kept that communication open.
Yeah.
Yes, and with that, did you find that your family also were helping you through that? time?
Yeah. I mean, family, they just want what's best for you over, more than anybody else in this world. And so,
Yes.
definitely.
Yeah, and with your prayer life, did you find that prayer also helped you during that time?
I'd say getting a personal prayer life has been a journey that I'm still, walking on.
Developing.
But
yeah.
especially just giving my year to mission,
Yes.
that's definitely been growing.
Yeah, we've got to go for a break now.
Definitely.
You're watching Spirit of Life. Stay with us and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Till I hear but breath of the Spirit flowing in me. Love, love, till I hear but breath of the Spirit flowing in me.
Welcome back to Spirit of Life. My name is Geraldine Lee, your host, and my guest is Josh Angrisano. He's a missionary and he's been sharing his story of his conversion. Welcome back,
Thanks.
Josh. You were sharing about prayer, how you pray by writing, and also that has helped you in your faith growth.
Definitely. Yeah, I'd say, just a big part of my life was just really realizing that I needed prayer daily. And I think sometimes, especially when, you're going through certain things, you sometimes have to hit rock bottom to really realize that. And that was definitely just, when I was struggling with those addictions and everything, I sort of hit a part in my life where, I just realized I did not have control of the situation.
Yes, I heard that you actually got to a stage where you were almost in trouble with the police, and your family, your dad had to get involved with that.
Yeah, I ended up just sort of getting in some legal trouble and just putting handcuffs and the whole deal. And but that was also just a huge turning point in my life, just because I ended up sort of talking to some people who, unfortunately, didn't really make it out of those addictions, and ended up, putting them in jail for a significant amount of time. And they really just gave me the advice of, you're made for so much more. And all an addiction is just it just steals your happiness and your joy in life. And you're called to do so much more, so much greater things. And so, they just really encouraged me to really break free from, the prison of addiction. And so that was when I really decided, you need prayer daily because, us as humans, we can't rely on our own strength. We're going to fail. And it's just amazing how now that I could say like I'm finally now in a pretty, consistent daily prayer routine. Just how the strength that comes from it is amazing.
So I suppose a lot of people would be wondering, because how to help you being a youth or young adult, to how some ways that you talked about people like those prisoners, warning you the knowledge could help people stop drugs. What else do you think helps young people or young adults keep away from drugs?
I think just being an authentic witness to faith in your own home is the biggest thing. And Pope Francis, I know he just recently talked about how we need to find new ways to reach the secular culture just with our own faith. And like I was telling you earlier, that was a big reason why I started writing, is because I just grew up being such a big hip-hop fan, and especially with my dad, who's a Catholic singer, I'd leave all these youth groups and Catholic events, and I'd see even myself, I'd just go home and I'd put on Drake or just some more mainstream music, and we really don't realize that effect that has on us. And so that's why I really just was writing, to try to create more positivity within the already really popular music.
Yes. So you think being authentic as an adult influences youth, and getting a positive message through social media or the entertainment industry.
Through whatever your passion is, it's different for everybody. But
yeah, that's great. And I hear that you've also created your own sort of rap music, and that would be great if you could share something, especially to the adults who are watching this, or people who are watching this, about rap, some message. And do you want to give a bit of preparation before to say what this rap is about, or do you or do you just do it first and explain later?
I mean, just really quick, I really wrote this in the time of coming home from Peru and sort of soul searching and trying to bring God back to the center of my life. And so, so that's just sort of like the basis of where the writing came from. So I'll just start. Start your engines, begin to pay attention. Please try to release all tension from Christ's ascension to man-made inventions. The more I know, the more I lose all comprehension. Reaching new dimensions, fading competition. Never understood why people acting out in vengeance, like you acting too pretentious, like heroes and villains keep switching roles, but you know how it goes. Friends turn to foes, like hot turns to cold, like young turns to old, like shy turns to bold. I just give God all my woes, uplifted from my shoulders, most famous of give and go. Sometimes I feel him going crazy, I feel him going insane. Swerving negativity, focus on paving your lane. We're chained to our own veins, lost in our own hate. I aim to still maintain, just eat the beef like chow mein. Got way more bigger things to say, offer my work like Opus Day. Hope that you notice the cool wordplay, like Moses ferociously paving the way, saving the day, need a wing and a cape, I'm a sinner and a saint. And both sides spill on this one same page.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Thanks.
And how, when you wrote it, what does it, how do you feel? Like, you feel inspired by God as you write it? Like, that's
I mean, writing was a very big prayer tool. Just a way to just sort of get all the thoughts in my head just down on one piece of paper. And I'd say that the lyrics mean more to me, probably more than it does to the listener, just because I really know the thought process behind every single word. But at the same time, I still really try to make it to where people who are listening can relate.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And for people who have friends or relatives who are in drug addiction, what few words could you say to them about how to help their friends or family? Got anything to say?
Definitely just make sure that the person always feels loved and know that they're always welcome, and always have open arms with them, because that's what we're called to do. But sometimes loving them is saying, I don't support what you're doing at the moment, but you're always welcome, in my house. Thanks
for sharing your story. Can you come back next week?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Until then, thank you.
Thanks.
You have been watching Spirit of Life, and that's all for our program today. Join us again next week. Goodbye, and God bless you.